We're good to go.
Hi everyone, here with you today you have Hannah, Lestat, Christopher, and Jay. We didn't know Anne Frank personally, but we had the opportunity to learn about her and her life and depict her thoughts while reading her diary. Anne was a daughter, a sister, and a friend to many. During March 1945, she was murdered in a German concentration camp. A huge emptiness was left in the hearts of the people who loved her. And many people who hadn't had the chance to meet her, like us, didn't have the chance to be impressed by her.
Before the 1940s, times were good and Anne lived a happy, carefree life with her sister Margot and her parents Otto and Edith Frank. Like any other family, the Franks had their quarrels, but Anne and her mother Edith had a particular feud. Anne would describe her mother as cold and uncaring, but carried an expansive love for her father. And while her sister was pretty quiet and obedient, Anne couldn't help but feel jealous of Margot's relationship with her parents. Unfortunately, after the 1940s, the family's simple life changed. Nazi Germans occupied Anne's home in the Netherlands. Jewish people could no longer do many day-to-day things because of several anti-Jew decrees. Otto Frank ordered his family into a hiding at a place called the Secret Annex. Later, Fritz Pfeffer and the Van Pals, Herman, Auguste, and Peter would join them. In the Secret Annex, things like food, electricity, and security were luxurious. Without the help of Mip Gibbs, Victor Kalger, Johannes Kleeman, and Beb Vaxoji, life as it was for the Franks, Van Pals, and Dr. Pfeffer would have not been so comfortable.
The Diary of Anne Frank still resides as one of the few pieces to account for the life of Jews during World War II. Anne documented a time of worst racial killing and its harshest circumstances. Through her commentary, she created a voice that has been heard for several decades. Anne's legacy continues through generations because of her connection to both an adolescent and oppressed audience. Her story speculates the perseverance of Jewish people and their will to live. Anne Frank eventually was Jewish, but she was not as devoted as her mother, who would pray much more. Anne would mention God in her writings, but also felt that her mom wanted her to be more religious than she actually was. Despite this, Anne seemed open to experimenting with other religions, as she was curious and willing to read from religious texts like the New Testament.
While Anne and her mother held a heavy relationship, she went through her years in the annex with a rare, optimistic attitude that could not be tainted. She continued searching for identity and existence, despite the horrors of the war and the contempt around her. When we met Anne Frank, she was only a 13-year-old girl with big emotions and a mouth that did not stop, and a naivety suitable for that tender age. She was extraordinary in her hopefulness and confidence. At the same time, she was just ordinary. This makes her relatable and all the more devastating. We see Anne Frank develop into an impressionable and angsty teenager. We see her become passionate in politics and human nature. And while she knew things outside of her seclusion, she believed in the good of everyone. Oftentimes, her words suggested a wisdom past her years. And by her final entry, we witness a person who could barely recognize himself.
Okay, Christopher. You got it.
Yeah, that's